Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got quite a large RV project. We are trying to repair some delamination on our coach. Pretty much all RVs eventually will have a water leak, and if it's in the wall, a lot of times it's likely that you'll end up with some delamination. And basically that's where the wall has slightly separated, usually due to water damage. In our case, our dryer vent up top leaked a little bit, very slow leak over a long time, and the fiberglass wall started to separate from the insulation inside. Very common problem, but repairing it can be very challenging. A lot of times you have to peel back the entire wall or inject glue somehow. A lot of times people use epoxies. Today we're trying a method I've never seen used before. We're going to share how we're doing it and if it works. Basically what we've decided to do is try to use this Great Stuff Pro adhesive. Now this stuff is designed primarily for floors, but I have seen people talk about using it in walls for like wall boards in homes. It appears like it's gonna work pretty well, and what's nice about it is it's injectable. We've got two of these guns. I actually just got these on Amazon. I'll share what it is, and I got these ones because they have a tip that I can actually adapt to hoses. So we actually are adapting this to a 1/4-inch hose, and we've put a bunch of hoses inside the wall where it has delaminated. We've shoved them up in the wall, and we're going to use this foam to inject it into the wall as we pull the hoses out, leaving the foam in the wall. Now, you're probably familiar with Great Stuff for expanding foams, gaps, cracks, things like that. This isn't designed to create pressure and cause expansion, so it shouldn't expand the wall. Once pressure is put on it, it just collapses and turns into a really sticky glue and eventually hardens. We've done a lot of testing with this stuff on some like cardboard and just like running beads and figuring out how much time it takes for the foam to come out the tube at the end, but we've never seen this done, so we don't know if and how it's going to work. And the thing with delamination is a lot of times you only get one shot at it because you're injecting glue into the wall that is going to harden. So we'll let you know down the road how this works out, but right now we're going to get up there and inject the glue. Now you'll see this big thing that we had to build. A thing with delamination is you also have to clamp the wall. You have to clamp it. When they build these RVs, they laminate by clamping all the pieces together with glue, and it hardens and turns into the wall. Well, if we're trying to repair it, we have to do that somehow. So we built this big laddery rack thing, and we got 1,000-pound ratchet straps on each corner that after we inject all the glue, we're just going to squeeze that thing up against the coach with a couple 100 pounds of force, and it'll flatten and force all that glue up against the interior wall. And we're just gonna leave it that way for a couple days for it to harden. I've been trying to figure out how to do this project for a couple years, and we're inside our shelter now that we built last year, so now I have an opportunity to do this, and we're able to basically pull against the wall of the shelter on the other side. So I finally have an opportunity to do this. But there is no one-size-fits-all fix for delamination. Clamping is usually something required. Injecting is usually something that's required. A lot of times I've seen people do it with epoxies and things like that. But we're gonna try this method and see if it works. We're gonna inject from the top, and then we're gonna inject from the bottom. We got hoses all over the place already. A couple hoses we're gonna put in. I'm a little worried that we're gonna lose a lot of glue in the hoses themselves. I've got a second gun and second can already for if we run out and or if we have a problem. Because we only have about 10 minutes working time with the glue. We have to inject it and get it clamped on the wall all in about 10 minutes. I'm really nervous about that, but I guess it can't get any worse than it already is. Caitlin keeps saying. It's been this way for a couple of years and it hasn't gotten worse. That is something I wouldn't suggest. A lot of times delamination will get worse because the vibrating wall will eventually like break the glue further and further. The most important thing though is actually getting the water leak stopped. If you have water leak that has caused the delamination, fixing that water leak, always checking your coach. This actually happened with the previous owner. I found it and fixed it almost immediately. We just haven't got around to the delam. I did have to get inside and rebuild some of the wood in the wall around the dryer vent. before you do any gluing, make sure you rebuild any of the structure that has rotten away or been damaged.
We're really lucky that this is happening behind our washer dryer, so it's not visible.
This is true.
From the inside.
The dryer vent doesn't really matter, even if that wall doesn't look great. It's completely hidden back there. We're also lucky that we have access. We've removed the engine. This is the radiator vent cover, and I was able to remove that, and the whole kind of wall that separated was accessible from there. If you don't have good access, you might actually have to like split a seam and go in from the side or the top, find a seam that you can actually get into. I was even thinking about drilling holes into the wall, knowing the depth of the bit, and then like injecting from inside. I think that might be an option as well. Again, there's no one size fits all way how to do this. This is how we're gonna do it, and we're gonna let you know if it works. All right, we're about to begin. So we basically put a little adapter on, and then here's all our tubes that are like in the wall, and this shoves in. We made this adapter, I just went to the hardware store, and that's how we're gonna inject the glue. We do waste a lot of glue in these tubes, but we have 2 tubes, hopefully.
2 cans.
2 cans, hopefully. It's gonna be enough. Let's do it.
Alrighty.
Tubes. Go down. Okay, 29 minutes. All right, hon, what'd you think of that process?
Chaos, just pure chaos.
Controlled chaos. Look at this, this mess, glue everywhere.
You know,
it went fast though.
Not fast enough.
No.
The timer at 10 minutes went off and we were like,
halfway through.
Not even.
But the glue's still gooing out,
yeah.
So it's not set yet.
Right.
But we're nice and crushed. Everything worked out as planned. It was just a little longer and way messier. Yeah. If you do this project, I mean, we put some tape, but we definitely got some foam right on the paint of the coach. So yeah, that's going to be fun to figure out.
I don't think we were thinking about once we pulled.
Well, I thought I'd put them in the box. That didn't work.
Well, it worked as long as they were short enough to fit in the box. And they were just kind of exploding, oozing continually. So
I'd say if this works, this process might be good. If it doesn't work, then definitely don't do this. Yeah. Such. Oh, look, I got.
Yeah.
Oh. What a mess. What a mess. Did it move?
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. It's flat. It's flat.
Where's the lump?
Yeah, just a little bit, but it's much flatter than it was.
It's not moving.
It's not moving.
Solid hump.
Good. Hear like a little bit of air in there, but it could just be kind of that glue, you know, because it's foamy. We did get one little spot on the coach. That's going to be a pain to clean. But otherwise, so far so good. everyone? Over a month and 2,000 miles later, and we're still holding up great. It's basically the same as when we first pulled that bracket off. There is a little bit of a bulge in the wall. It was like that from when we pulled the bracket off, and I think that's just because the wall maybe had stretched a little or even pulled away from kind of the edges, and I think the only way to get rid of that would have been to completely separate the wall from the edges so that it can push back. It had been sort of delaminated for so long. I think that's why that's there, but it doesn't really bother us, and I'm thrilled with how this turned out overall. I can't say how it's going to hold up long term. So far, it's been great, but if we do have a problem, I'll come back in this video and I'll leave a comment. I'll pin it, the first comment below, so take a look for that, depending on how old this video is at the time you're watching it. If you have this problem, I hope this has helped you out. Overall, I'd say this is a decent process, depending on your situation. All delaminations are different, and I think injecting it, though, is a pretty good way to deal with it. So that glue that I did have on the outside here, it got kind of brittle in the sun, and a pressure washer ended up just taking that right off. I think that means that these glues aren't going to be good for outdoor UV applications, but it's really not its intended purpose. It's intended to be sandwiched between two layers. Overall, this was a pretty messy process, but dealing with any glue is going to be messy. The expanding nature of the glue and dealing with all those hoses was a bit of a pain, but properly thought through ahead of time, it really wasn't that bad. And as long as this holds up, I think this is a decent way to deal with this. If you have this problem, I hope this helps you out. As always, thank you so much for checking us out. I hope that you subscribe here on Morton's on the Move on YouTube. We also have a ton more information over on our website at mortonsonthemove.com, and we have a newsletter that we send out from there. We hope you subscribe over there as well, that we send out lots more information, tons of things that we figure out from the road like this. As always, stay safe, and we'll see you down the road.